Jamie, let's keep it rolling, man. Today's guest is Will Harris. He's the founder of the Hustle Marketing and Design. And yes, he's the guy whose red sneakers are as legendary as his branding strategies. Will's not just helping businesses grow. He's helping them fall in love with their own stories again. From scaling a company from 10 to 110 employees to rescuing another from internal sabotage and skyrocketing sales to nearly $1 million. Will's approach is anything but average. We're diving into bold branding, purposeful passion, and why positive vibes might be the best marketing strategy you have ever thought of. Mornings in the lab. Keith, Marty, and John, we are excited to introduce you and welcome Will Harris to the lab. What's up, Will?
What's up, Will?
What's up, Will?
Can't hear us?
Will, we got you muted. Yeah, we got you muted, Will.
I hope you guys can hear me. It's been a typical Monday.
We got you. We got you clear. Loud and clear, baby. Loud and clear.
Right. Hold on. Harris, you said typical Monday. Brother, give us a snapshot into your typical Monday, my friend.
My Monday starts at 4:30, meditation, gym time, and then straight to the work, emails, dedication to clients, employees, meetings. I just always have something technological going wrong. It doesn't matter what it is.
Where are you joining us from this morning, Will?
Dallas, Texas.
Oh, Dallas, Texas. I'm not sure if you're a hockey fan, Mr. Will, but if you see my jersey on.
Oh,
Yeah, I see it.
Here we
But
go.
I think I'm okay fan. You could stump me with a lot of questions for sure. I'm more into basketball, but that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Brother, I don't know shit about hockey either, so we're on the same page. He gets on here, starts yammering about that stuff. I didn't even know there was 3 periods. I thought there was 2.
Today, Will Harris is the founder of the Hustle Marketing and Design. And yes, he's the guy whose red sneakers are as legendary as his branding strategies. Will's he's not just helping businesses grow, he's helping them fall in love with their own stories again. He went from scaling a company from 10 to 110 employees to rescuing another from internal sabotage and skyrocketing sales to nearly $1 million. William's approach is anything but average. We're diving into bold branding and purposeful strategies. And Will, you're joining us from Dallas here today. Let's get into it, brother. You talked about your morning routine. You use the word hustle as more than a brand. It seems like it's a philosophy that shows up in everything from your agency to your podcast to your shoes on his feet. Talk about what hustle means to you, Will.
It could have that derogatory term, like especially back in the 90s, hustle was a different version. But now with entrepreneurship on the rise, a lot of people, and unfortunately, you have to have multiple means of income to even survive now, not to get ahead, but just to survive.
Baby, isn't it? It's a state of mind.
And so a lot of people had their quote unquote side hustle, and we wanted to take that side hustle, and because usually that's their passion of what they're doing, and take it and make it like their own company to where that's all they had to do. So that's where it came from.
I love that, brother. Love that. We talk about that often, man. I love that. That's killer.
And I like how you've reframed the word hustle, because you're right. For the longest time, there has been a negative connotation attached to it, right? Yeah. And you're like, no, I think there's a positive way it can spin this. What I'm quite intrigued about, Will, is
I've been dying to say this, Will. Something about red shoes. I got 7 pairs of red shoes. I love the red shoe thing. I want to hear more about it.
It's funny, John, because that's exactly it. What's the origin story behind the red Nike Air Maxes? And how did it become your personal brand symbol, Will?
So, true story. I grew up in a very low income area. So being who I am and being Caucasian or white, I was definitely the minority, and my closest friends were Black. And so I took on that dress, I took on that attitude, Jordans, all that, Tommy Hilfiger, all that stuff was what I wore. Well, going to high school, totally different concept. It was a majority white, it was upscale, a lot of rich kids. And so it just didn't mesh. My style did not mesh at all. So I was being picked on one time, and a gentleman said, hey, if you're going to wear stuff like that, and I've used gentleman loosely, if you're going to wear stuff like that, then you need to, and he used a derogatory term, he goes, you need to go hang out with those people. So, and it really, and I wasn't used to that like where I was, that it just didn't exist. And at that day, I had bought my first pair of red Jordans on my own, and I was so proud of them because my parents couldn't afford them.
Yeah.
And so they were red. And it just, I don't know, for some reason that day burned an imprint in my head. I know exactly what he was wearing. I knew who it was. I still know who he was or who he is. And that just whole moment was just, it just burned. And so having the red shoes, it was now a motivator to A, not be an asshole, B, to be so much more successful than people like that it just was a huge motivator for me. So now anytime I have that day that's maybe it's hard, maybe it's a struggle, maybe I'm not motivated, I wear the red shoes as a reminder to put my ass in gear and get shit done.
It's a symbol, isn't it?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. So I was doing a podcast. I had my own podcast at the time when I had the time to do them. And I gave every guest a pair of red shoes and just told them, define your own success. Here you go. And
The red shoes for me, they're a trigger for me too, because obviously when I was young and trying to establish being good with who I was and not really caring what other people said, I would dress very much what you'd consider inside the box. But then as soon as I started getting a little momentum and started not caring, boom, I think I went to, because I love shoes. So I went to bright colored shoes right away, and red, one of my favorite colors. So the red shoes, once I started wearing red shoes, to me, that was like, okay, you're learning to not give a fuck.
That's interesting to hear you say it, Johnny, because I can a gazillion % relate to you. Sold my company for a few dollars, went to Vegas, did some shopping, and
a few dollars, dude, be like $50 million. Be honest here. Jesus
thanks,
Christ.
Johnny. Thanks, my brother. I ended up in a John Varvatos store, bought myself a wonderful pair of laceless collaborative Converse John Varvatos red shoes, awesome, and then walked down the hallway and bought myself a wonderful pair of red Pradas. Oh, my two favorite pairs of shoes I still wear. I wore yesterday a red shoe. So when I knew you were coming on here, I was like, yes, the red shoe guy. And it's funny because there's a statement with red shoes. There really is.
Well, it really stands out. Red and all these crazy colors, like they got the neons and shit. I think it's great. I think when people are expressing themselves through what they wear, it means they've taken that step. Yeah. Was that, Will, when you bought those red shoes and you've worked your journey on, have you done collabs with Nike, or have you?
No, being a small fish compared to them.
Of course.
I reached out one time, but that went to the wayside, I'm sure.
Of course. Yeah. So you often talk in your branding and your material and the stuff that I was reading about you, you often talk about helping clients fall in love with their brand. When a client comes to you, what's usually missing when they first come to sit down in front of Will Harris? And have they fallen out of love with their brand, Will, or they have it, or they are not in love in the first place, or where are they in their journey? And you're like, I see what you're missing.
Yeah, it's really all over the place, to be honest with you. There's no one point. It may be a point of they don't know what they don't know. It may be a point where somebody is confusing marketing with sales when they're two totally different things. It may be also a point to where they just don't know what they want to do and they just want to make a lot of money, which is not. It's not a good place. I'll be honest with you, that's not a good place to be. It's okay to want to make a lot of money, but try not to do something just to make a lot of money, because 9 times out of 10 it doesn't work because you're not passionate about it.
Real quick, brother, you said something that I think just a simple explanation would be helpful. The difference between marketing and sales. I think someone that's starting a side hustle probably can't define that.
Yeah. So as a marketing agency or a marketing company, our job is, here's a great example. Our job is to lead the horse to the water. It's your job to get him to drink.
That's a great way. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. I'm going to do creative advertising, ways to get you noticed, people to see your brand. But if your product sucks, or your customer service sucks, or your sales team sucks, I can't help that. That's a totally different animal that you got to deal with. But if you want the attention and you want people to know who you are and your brand and everything, absolutely, we can do that all day long and fill you with leads.
So, Will, why do so many business owners get that wrong? And then from your point of view, what's the cost of that confusion?
The cost of the confusion is huge. It really is. But I think they just get it wrong because they just don't know any better, or they've talked to every industry is flooded or saturated, if you will. Everybody's a roofer, everybody's a marketer, everybody's a construction guy, whatever. It doesn't matter. So you have to stand out in a way. So we're very transparent in our conversations. And so telling the client, having that transparent conversation of defining the two it's a really important conversation, and telling them, like, this is what needs to be done. And the problem that we face, there's so many marketing industries that promise the world, they overpromise and underdeliver, that it causes that persona that, hey, marketing company does both. Totally. And that's the issue we run into. Yeah.
So when you say that the market is flooded, would you say that, because I have a view on that, is that the market is flooded with a copy of a copy of a copy?
Yes.
It's not flooded with authentic, unique people who teach people to do something differently, or when you're in an industry, but yet you're doing something that other people are not, that's really then you become it's not flooded with that. Would you agree?
No, I 100% agree. AI is a great tool, but a lot of marketing agencies are using that solely for their clients, which is not fair. Anybody can type in, give me a strategy for a med spa for marketing. That's great. But where's the campaigns that are going to come from that are going to grab people's attention where maybe you put on there and be like, hey, we have beautiful people that stab you in the face. Okay, from a med spa, that's going to grab someone's attention, not what AI is telling you to do.
Well, that's perfect, brother, because Keith and I often talk about how AI is creating this version of the world that really is getting away from that authentic person. And I think when you use an AI to do something like this, you're becoming more of that copy of a copy, when in actuality, you've got to attach yourself to your authentic self, what your
Yes.
authentic position, and you got to market that. And can AI do that? I so agree with that. I don't think that really AI can learn who you are, but I don't know. I'm still a big proponent of the person who, exposes who they are to be different. And that's what makes them unique.
Speaking of exposing ourselves, we got Bernard Artles in the comments here. Good morning, Bernard. I see you there. Bee-driven equipment. Good to have you here. And Will, you mentioned a roofer. Hey, we got a roofer in the community this morning. We got Will. We got Matthew Roof joining us. And guys, he wore his red Ralph Lauren slip-ons to his losing virginity session. Yeah, so think about that, boys. He got up one day. It was probably a couple weeks ago, I'm thinking, Roofy, right? He got up and strapped. He's got a few kids. He strapped his red Ralph Lauren's on and walked on and lost his virginity in his red Ralph Lauren's. You're hanging out with Will Harris, John Anderson, and Keith Billis this morning on Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends. Will, I want to go back to the question actually about falling out of love with the brand, though, because we were talking about it and then we moved into marketing and sales. But when somebody is sitting in front of you and you're getting the impression that they have fallen out of love with their own brand, what are they missing?
I think it's a lot of it's just mental. Maybe it's brand fatigue. Maybe they've struggled and then they're at that crossroad to where, do I give up and start something new, or do I just keep going?
Yeah.
And part of it, is their idea is it a logical idea? Is what they're trying to accomplish, is it even going to work in today's world? You can have the greatest idea, but if the economy is not ready, then it's not going to happen. And another good example of that is Ozempic. So think about it. You guys are in the fitness industry. Yeah. So in the 90s, how much shit did people get for being on steroids and taking a needle? Okay, a lot. What the hell are people doing now with Ozempic? Every day they're taking a needle every day to lose weight. It's the same concept. It's just the world wasn't ready for it. And so it's the same thing with your brand or your company. You just have to, it has to be at the right time and what you're trying to do.
Brother, I've never had a job. Came out of college, went right into free enterprise, entrepreneurship. My first crack at a business was fucking meal prep. This is like 1994. Just like you said, I was just a decade too soon, actually probably more than that. But yeah, nobody was up to, I was doing it, but I was such a minority. The economy wasn't ready.
Yep.
So then, Will, what does it look like? So let's continue this journey. Somebody sat down with you and they're maybe falling back in love with their brand, or you're talking it through with them. Are they really in what you're calling is a plateau effect? Are they now sitting in front of you and you go, oh, I think you're actually at a plateau right now? And if they are, how do you help them break out of that feeling? Will?
I don't think it's the same thing as a plateau effect.
Okay.
I think truly, if you're falling out of love with your brand, it's really from that mental exhaustion. It's from spinning your wheels. You're not getting anywhere. It's frustration and what have you. I think with the plateau effect, that happens because a lot of people will get comfortable, and COVID kind of set that apart too, because something came in and really disrupted everybody's market. And it really showed some people that maybe they weren't willing to do anything and everything to survive as their business. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some people that just didn't have a choice. There's nothing they could do. But there's other people that they were so complacent with their business model that they stayed at that plateau level And it really showed when COVID came, because they weren't in the digital world. So then they couldn't do an e-commerce store or anything, because they never cared to learn. They never cared to grow. When other people grew, then that's what caused the problem. Same thing with AI. I give shit on AI a lot, but at the end of the day, it's an amazing tool and it's very powerful. The companies that don't use AI, they're going to be the ones that fall behind. They will. It's just inevitable. And so it's the same thing. You can't stay in that plateau level, or you'll just get passed up.
I had this conversation with a company last week, and I'll role play with you. If I was working with you, my expectation is you are using modern tools and you're not using these tools that we invented 100 years ago. But I think sometimes people are like, oh, but I don't want to use AI. What, you don't want to use, oh, you're going to go back and use an encyclopedia and a map?
Like, no, you're going to get in the horse and buggy.
Right. And that's where I get disconnected with some folks who are reluctant to move forward. But you brought up COVID, and obviously much has changed, and there was much impact in the marketing business world with that. What was the hardest branding mistake that you've had to help a client recover from in the last 5 years?
So, man, there's a lot. There's one problem that I had to help with a lot of people that actually got people in a bind. They were using, again, these marketing companies that really didn't do their research. And this was a big deal. This really changed the mapping of Google and their algorithm. People were using keyword searches like hand sanitizer because it was like the number one word. The reason they're doing that is because it was getting them in front of literally millions of people.
But not the right people.
Yeah, not the right people.
Maybe not the right people, but you have those people with knee-jerk reaction that see something, they buy it. And Google, yeah, think about it. If you have a word where millions of people are coming and you're targeting that word and your product is coming up, they're still seeing it. Well, Google noticed this, and they didn't just red flag your account. They shut your account down immediately. So you lost everything in that account. So you had to rebuild it. Yeah. And so it was really getting involved in doing that and helping them. The other part, twofold to your question, the other part of the marketing side was really just growing creativity in people. A lot of people just don't have that mindset to be creative, which is fine. You have people you hire for that, but they would just lose the creativity of doing their business, and they would cheap out, hire somebody to do them a quick little logo, had no passion behind it, had no meaning behind it, and then try to go off to the races. And that's a big problem to have when you're competing with hundreds of other people doing the same thing.
Yeah. Johnny.
Well, I was just going to say COVID, man. It was like there was two types of people that got recognized really quick. There was the ones that were happy to learn the helplessness. There was the people that recognized there was an opportunity here. And when you could basically level up during that time, once things lifted, things were going to explode. Of course, everybody took a hit when COVID started. By the time COVID was coming to a close, I was already had a different trajectory going. And then once the shackles lifted, it took off. So I guess I'm just wanting to point out if you're one of those people who has learned helplessness and you're holding on to that shit, let go of it.
And it's because Bernard Artis, one of our commenters here, says COVID was a blessing in disguise. It changed, it forced people to work for themselves with the skills that they have. It created forced self-growth and if you didn't, you got left behind. You had to learn new ways. You had to be creative. You had to go and uncover new opportunities, or else you were going to get left behind. It was essentially forced self-growth, as Bernard says. Comments on that, Will?
Yeah, I think so. I think COVID also identified real entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Because entrepreneurs, all we do is solve problems. That was a problem to solve.
Oh, you mean all the fake ones in Canada that just gracefully accepted all the liberal checks that were printed out every couple of weeks from my government? Those weren't the real entrepreneurs? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to get political for a second. Let's keep the conversation going.
But you had to pivot. That's when same thing as you, John. I had a trajectory that changed. I was consulting at the time for brands and marketing, and I saw like an area of help to help people with their social media and e-commerce stores and everything like that, because that's the only way they could have done business for a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Will, you say that positive vibes create positive opportunities. I'm a big believer in that. I know Johnny's a big believer in that. We're big believers in movement creates momentum. But how do you keep your own energy high through tough business moments? You talked about, you started our conversation with, it's Monday. It's a tough Monday so far. You strike me as a positive dude.
I am. I thrive off positivity. I'm rarely negative. And I've been through a shitstorm. I really have. Last year,
share with us.
Last year I had about 6 to 7 inches of my colon removed.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah. Yeah,
What
that
was
was
it? Was it
so I
cancer?
no, I suffered through a hereditary disorder called diverticulitis.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
And
okay.
so
friends with that.
and
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
and I put it off for a very long time till it got so bad that I had to go in and have emergency surgery. And even then, after that, after coming out of that, I came out stronger because I was motivated to get back, share my story about taking care of yourself, which I did not do, and help people in the entrepreneurship and fitness world. Hey, just because you look healthy doesn't mean that you're healthy, that you're
Yeah,
truly healthy on the
yeah.
inside. And so using that as a motivator really helped me. But I just, for me on marketing, it's powerful. And the reason I say that is I'm technically in every industry. So it's like I'm a multiple industry business owner, which I
Mhm.
don't, I help these brands do stuff. I can have a conversation, an intelligent conversation about roofing, about airlines, med spas. It's just what it doesn't matter. So I don't get bored doing the same thing over and over because we have so many different clients that we're working with that it's day to day. It's like a whole different business.
Yeah, yeah. Will, share some insights for me and Johnny here, because one of the things that struck me in your journey is you took a client's team from 10 people to 110 people. And I've been fortunate to scale a business. What was that secret behind that kind of scale for you?
Blueprint and consistency. Figuring out that literally that blueprint of what works, of when you need to scale, because that's one of the biggest problems businesses face is when do I need to hire somebody? When do
Yes.
I need to scale?
Yes.
And having that blueprint, literally, it was just copy and paste from the next person to the next person to the next person and putting them in the right place. And the biggest thing to be sure that you understand how to do is not setting people up for failure. So ensuring that your teammates or your employees or however you address them, being sure that they're not set up for failure and they're in the right position that they're going to contribute.
Yes, that's so good, brother. Because one of the first things that is that in fitness industry, I help people with basically scaling their businesses as well, and with their online coaching businesses. And one of the things I
Mhm.
look at is, look, let's not worry about hiring people to help you. Let's make sure that your systems are efficient.
Yeah.
Because if your systems are wasting time, all you're going to do is bring people on and waste more time. It's not efficient. So nailing that system, make sure that the system is effective is most people just miss that. They think scaling is just more heads.
Yeah. And they make it so difficult, but really systems, you do them every day. You have a system how you do laundry.
100%.
Yeah.
Everything, dude.
Yeah. You
Everything.
have a
I get out of the shower, I put lotion on my skin. I've done that since I was a little guy with eczema. 3 pumps on each leg, 4 pumps on the upper body, 1 pump on the head. It's everything is a system.
yeah.
I
And
even
so
have a
you just
system for wiping my ass.
Yeah, you just take that and you use that into your business and you
Yes.
do the same thing. It's just got to be efficient. That's all.
Yes.
But John and I talk about it often. Why do you think people are so afraid of systems, habits, accountability, repetition? And then they come to you, me or Johnny, going, I'm not having success. And we're like, yeah, but you're not in a regular system. But yet people are so scared of that. Johnny, Flynn would shake him. We love Christina Flynn. Flynn often would say to us, Johnny, she couldn't function in a structure. Yet she was wondering why there was no success. Will, why do you think people are so afraid of a system?
I don't know if they're necessarily afraid of a system other than afraid of letting go and trust.
Think about,
So
so I'm sorry to interrupt, but think about sports. Think about basketball. A successful basketball team plays a system, and you guys have been around enough teams where like, that guy's not playing the system. They're not winning. They're not. So bringing it back, Will, is it because they don't trust it?
Real
think of
quick, let me
both.
jump in before Will talks. Let's go like to the most basic thing. People are afraid of the unknown. The
Yeah.
unknown will get them to not step forward. The first step is usually the hardest. So you're talking about a system or a habit. That means they've got to cross outside their comfort zone.
We got to find
Mhm.
trust in what you're saying, is what you're saying, actually, Johnny. You're saying, trust me. I'm telling you, this system will work. Trust me. That's like a
And these are people that usually are afraid to step out of the comfort zone in any part of their life. So it's
Yeah.
going to be difficult, even if they have a guide.
yeah.
Yeah. And you brought up a good point when you said about basketball. Teams that don't have systems are the ones that fail. That's exactly the same thing in the business. So the
Oh,
guy
yeah.
that's supposed to be in the system and pass the ball to the other guy to take the 3-point shot to win the game.
Yeah.
If he doesn't trust that guy to do it, he's going to take it on his own. So just a business owner,
Right.
if I don't trust an employee to do something, that business owner is just going to do it on their own because they feel that they can do it better. So that's where
Replace
the
that
problem is.
person.
Yeah.
And then
Or not hire anybody at all and just be bogged down and have no time.
yeah.
You can't be the product of your business. You only have
Yes.
so much time during the day.
Yeah. Yeah. As I was doing research for you and for this conversation today, I got to tell you, man, I found that within your content, you have a consistent focus. You may know this, you might not, but I want to call it out because I think it's quite powerful. You have a consistent focus in your content on trust and empowerment, which suggests to me that it reveals a deep, this emotional intelligence that frankly is often overlooked in marketing. You're not just building brands, Will Harris, you're healing them. People are coming in and you're saying you're empowering them, you're building trust around them. Was that intentional on your behalf? And I'm going to assume it was, or has this kind of come out accidental just through your journey?
It was, a lot of it was intentional, because a lot of business owners, before they pass that threshold, they're terrified. They're scared to fail. Just like y'all were talking about earlier, they're scared of what people may think. They're scared of people talking. They're scared of not being able to provide for their family. I think it's a lot of it's just fear. And we as a society have put so much emphasis on defining what success should look like when you should define your own success. I think that's the biggest problem. And that's where I've told people, like, look, some of your most successful people have filed bankruptcy multiple times. It's not the end of the world. And as an entrepreneur, a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but as an entrepreneur, most people hide their income anyway through tax laws and tax write-offs and buying stuff, and their CPA makes it look like they make nothing on paper. So if that's the case, then what are you scared of? You can always make money. You can always make more money. You can always go back to a 9 to 5. So I teach them all this, and I show them the differences of what they can do. And it's okay to have a 9 to 5 and do your entrepreneurship until you get comfortable. And a lot of people don't agree with that, but I never understood why. If you
Brother,
put in the hours, do it.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's what we talk about all the time. Listen, find what you like to do, find your passion, and just commit an hour a day and start working on monetizing that. Because you love it, you're going to get good at it. And pretty soon your side hustle eclipses your 9 to 5 and you're onto a better life.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially if you have a partner that's supportive with you and can really chase your goals with you, it makes a huge difference.
That's probably one of the hiccups when you say, brother, is that a lot of times you find, excuse me, you find that one of the two in the couple has that bigger vision. The other one is scared of that vision. And we know that when we're scared, we make different decisions than when we're not.
Yeah.
So we got a question from Scott Benzie coming in here, and just it's relating to this as well. Will, when we're talking to somebody, does somebody need to hear that it's okay in a certain way? So when you're communicating to somebody about stepping outside of their boundaries or taking a next step or chasing entrepreneurship or chasing a hustle, that it is okay. Is there a different way to reframe that conversation? Let's talk Benzie. Benzie's got a job. He's like, but I'm thinking about going over there, but I don't know how, and I'm scared of it. How do you reframe the okay, Will Harris? Do you know what I'm asking?
Oh yeah, it's just, first off, you ask the simple question: what are the fears? What are you scared of? And then you offer the solutions. I'm scared I'm not going to make enough money. Okay, well, keep your 9 to 5. I'm scared people are going to judge me. Who gives a fuck about what people think about you? I'm scared of not providing for my family. You got a partner. Y'all guys talk it out and come up with a strategy and a solution. There's a solution for every fear that comes among entrepreneurship. It's just, are you willing to do it or not?
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have Matthew Roof coming in with just checking out Will's content, crushing a foundation to support the young entrepreneurs, uncommon kindness in action. Roof, you guys got to meet Will Harris. You're going to need to meet Matthew Roof. He's all about uncommon kindness. And clearly you're supporting young entrepreneurs there, Will Harris, which is awesome. And they've got Lady Drew coming in with fears from Satan. And that thing does not want individuals to be successful. Yep. And I often say this, Will, imagine if you were successful, because we always think we're going to fail. But yet I want to invite people to think, imagine, Will, if you were successful at that. Holy shit. Let's get to some quick hitters, some rapid fires as we wrap up our conversation with Will Harris, who's joining us here this morning, all the way from Dallas, Fort Worth on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Will, favorite guilty pleasure snack during a late night edit?
Popcorn. Popcorn. I used to not be able to eat it. Yeah. I wasn't able to eat it because of diverticulitis. So.
That's funny. So your whole life you couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
You get your colon taken care of. Now you're crushing popcorn. True story?
Yeah. The whole bag.
Best business book you recommend to every client?
Yeah, it's that and peanut butter. Those are my two guilty pleasures.
Oh, dude, don't talk about peanut butter with me. How would your best business book you'd recommend to every client?
It's such cliche, but The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a great book to manage stress. And stress is a killer, not just for business, but you mentally and physically as well.
Yeah. Do you very much lean into that philosophy, Will?
I do. And I see stuff all the time that just, again, going back to the way people judging right now, I feel like it's going viral, but there's a photo of a woman that took a picture with a Tahoe. And then there's a guy that talks about don't get into $70,000 of debt, flexing a Tahoe, be the person that has the 1990s Honda that's paid off. And I'm just like, man, this guy's full of shit, because there's so many avenues of going into buying a car. First off, I'm in Dallas, Texas. Nobody's flexing a Tahoe. Okay. People drive Uruses here.
I was going to say, whoever
Yeah.
thinks that the Tahoe's a flex needs to fucking cover better
Yeah,
look.
nobody's flexing a Tahoe. But the other thing is, you don't know the reason people buy these cars. Some of them, yeah, maybe they buy it for the wrong reason because they're trying to impress other people. But some of them are tax write-offs. Some of them are
100%. I'm going to
some
say
of 'em are
that's a
branding
great way to
plays.
bear some money. 100%, brother.
I bought
know?
I bought an R8, and it's been the best branding tool that I could have bought. It's brought me more business, and that car is now paid for because of the way I leveraged it. So it's just going into that whole, what people think. Just use your own strategy and do what you want to do, and quit. Don't care what people want to say.
Yeah. Will, morning hustle or midnight grind?
Definitely morning. I'm in bed by 10.
Yes. So you're drinking our coffee. Most embarrassing marketing fail that you now sit back and you laugh at?
That I've completed or that somebody else has completed.
Maybe a bit of both.
I can't think of one that was really too embarrassing for me. I'm pretty cautious. I'm not saying that I don't have faults or make mistakes, but I don't know of anyone that's embarrassing. Yeah, I can't think of one. The one that made national news though, which is just funny. And again, I'm not judgmental. It's just they totally forgot who their audience was. But that's Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light. That whole fiasco that they went to with having that spokesperson come up that was transgender, and again, there's no judgment. I don't care. Live your life and be happy. But they totally forgot who their audience was. And
let's lean on that one. Or did they? Or was there some strategy in that? I'm playing a game with you, Will. Or was there a strategic decision in that to change the discussion around the brand?
So there's ways to do that, and that's definitely not how you go about it. And when you
did Google shut down their account because they were fishing for that?
when you have a long time history of a certain group of audience, you don't change it. Now you can strategically grow it, but you don't just all of a sudden decide overnight, hey, I'm going to change this. That would be like Nike coming out of somewhere and be like, hey, you know what? We're not going to do shoes anymore for basketball players. We're going to focus 100% into curling or ice hockey.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense at all.
Yeah. Hey, Will, if your brand had a heartbeat, what would that brand be saying right now?
Oh shit, Will, get your PR because you just brought up Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Will Harris joining us this morning all the way from Dallas on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Will, where can our audience connect with you, find you, engage with you, and do some work with you? And get around the 8.
Yeah, my Instagram is willing to thrive. It's willing, the number 2, and then thrive. And then of course they can always reach out on the hustle mad. That's MAD.com and check us out. And also check out our foundation talking about entrepreneurship. We have our nonprofit, the hustlefoundation.org, where we give scholarships and mentoring for young entrepreneurs that were within 1 to 2 years of business.
That's huge, man. The hustlefoundation.org for young entrepreneurs. And is that available to folks in the state of Texas or all over the place?
All over the place. So we just picked up a couple of new scholars that we're going to run through our program, and then we'll open, I guess, enrollment back up in third quarter.
Yeah. Hey, I did actually have one last question. Do you have kids?
2 dogs. They keep me busy enough.
Awesome. Awesome. I believe me, Johnny has 2 dogs. I have a couple dogs too. Yes, they keep me busy. I was going to ask the question, how do you teach them not to give a fuck? Because you're clearly one who embraces that mindset. And I guess with your dogs, they live around with dad, and they clearly probably have a similar attitude as dad. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, nope.
Dogs do you have? What kind of dogs do you have?
English cream golden retriever and a mini Aussie.
Oh, that's fantastic. Good for you.
My
Quite a
golden
combo.
retriever. Yeah, my golden retriever is 15 years old.
Wow.
Still just as active. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
You've clearly given that animal a really good life, brother.
Yeah. He's probably traveled more places than most people.
I bet.
Yeah. I put him in first class one time, and the looks I got from him sitting in that seat was just
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I say this all the time. I'm trying to build my next empire so I can buy an airplane so I can travel with my dogs. It's the truth, man. I don't want to, and I can get it. So me and Johnny can get an airplane to take our dogs everywhere. That's my vision. And I haven't really that's the mission. I want to buy an airplane so we can buy time and take my dogs. That's it. Simple. So I don't need nothing else. A red pair of shoes, a red airplane, and my dogs. There you go.
That's it.
Just for the record straight, he could fucking buy an airplane like right now, but he wants to basically earn the money to buy one without going into what he's sitting on right now.
Yes, that's exactly. Yes. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah.
We're gonna walk you out, brother. I appreciate you hanging out this morning. I know it took you a few attempts to get in, but we made it happen. Thoroughly enjoyed what you offered up here in the lab here today. Come back and hang out again with us sometime.
Yep, sounds good, guys. I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Awesome.
Great hearing you talk, brother. Really cool stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Again, congratulations on your success, man. I love hearing the journeys, right? Some guy who wakes up and he's like, fuck, people putting me down. And you talked about how you were raised in a certain community, in a certain mindset. And you're like, no, I'm not, Johnny, I'm not going to be defined by that. That from you. You're like, I'm not defined by that. And you went and you made your own thing. And that to me is the inspiration of your story, Will. Because I think, in my experience, I think John's as well, too many folks get defined and they're stuck there and they can't get out of it.
And the crazy thing is they've allowed that to happen.
Yes. So, well, you're going to get out of here today. Where are you off to next, pal? What's your next step on your agenda this morning?
I got a presentation for a potential new client on digital advertising. So I'm going to put that together and present to him today.
Good luck with that. And I look forward to grabbing coffee later today. Okay, pal?
Absolutely. Talk to you guys later.
Awesome.